Good evening, everybody. Some of you, I see some familiar faces in the audience, so some of you already know a fair bit about us, but I'm going to go through some of the background to Benchmark to start off with, and as I go I'm going to pick out and try and dwell a bit more on some of the more current things that are going on right now and some of the progress that we've been making. So, we've been around for a good while. We were founded in 2000. We work in this sector that we call applied biotechnology. That means taking the new emerging science of biotechnology and using it to solve some of the problems the world faces at the moment, particularly in the food industry. Also in what we call sustainability science. That is, again, taking science from the academic arena and applying that to solving the issues of driving sustainability into production methods, again with a particular focus on the food industry, and knowledge transfer. There's a lot of manifestations of this now, but that's, again, it's an important area, providing technical knowledge, again, strongly focused in the food industry. There's a huge thirst for knowledge around the world, in the emerging markets in particular. Our key areas of activity are animal health, aquaculture and agriculture, and we also have a strong focus on the food supply chain. So we are working in markets that have really strong growth drivers. Most of you probably know that aquaculture is the fastest growing sector of the food industry. We all know how important food chain integrity is. We can all see what's happened to Tesco, and that part of the problems that they face are a loss of confidence in them because of the way they haven't been able to grapple with food chain integrity to the public satisfaction. And we also know that there's a need for new animal health solutions. We can't continue to use valuable antibiotics, for example, or pesticides that are needed, chemicals or products that are needed for human pharmaceutical uses. We can't burn those up in livestock production, in the animal sector. We've got to preserve those for the human population. So we need to find new solutions, and obviously the best way for that is prevention, things like vaccines or biotechnology solutions to the problems. The company is based on what we call the 3 E's. It's a really simple concept. What we're saying is that along with addressing the major issues that we face in terms of the environment and in terms of ethics, things like food safety and worker welfare and the use of antibiotics, and these are ethical challenges, that has to be done in an economically viable context. In other words, it's no good trying to drive progress if you can't make some money while you're doing it. Company now employs, well, a little more than 210 people in 10 countries around the world. As everybody knows, we had a very successful AIM float that we were delighted to see the retail sector, you guys participated in very strongly, and that was something we wanted. And we raised 27.5 million of new money, and we had some important target areas that we wanted to place that in. The float was all about giving us the firepower to access the fantastic growth opportunities that we could see around us. And the first area was we wanted to expand our vaccine manufacturing capacity. The demand for vaccine production is growing all the time, and there aren't many companies or many facilities that are capable of producing GMP licensed vaccines to supply that demand. And the other area was research in the medicinal side of our program and driving forward the pipeline, the new products coming through. The company is structured into 3 divisions, and one of the questions that we've been learning we need to answer for investors is why do we have these 3 divisions, and how do they really work together? And what we believe is that there are massive synergies between these core areas. The 3 divisions are animal health, sustainability science and technical publishing. Now within those divisions there is information flow coming through from the technical publishing arena that gives us an insight into what's going on in the world markets and also allows us to put ideas out right into those markets. And in sustainability science we see this as a core theme for humanity that's developing incredibly rapidly now. and therefore for us in the food sector, the food industry is the largest polluter on the planet. We need to be enmeshed and involved in this. And by going right to the source, right to the science behind this, we're trying to make sure that we play an active part in that, and that gives us lots of new opportunities. And of course, those two link in very well with our animal health business that has a very strong presence in aquaculture. We are positioned we're an international company. People talk about being a global business. I think there aren't too many really global businesses, but we're certainly an international company. And we have operations all around the world. Last time when we gave this slide fairly recently, and there was a couple of Dutch guys in the audience, and one of them said it never until this point realised just how big the UK was. But we needed to make the UK look a bit bigger in order to get all of the locations that we have there on. But you can see we are slowly developing a very much of an international footprint. And that's because our markets, all of the markets that we're in, are global markets. There's no doubt about that. So the demand for knowledge is everywhere in our markets. The need for these solutions applies in every market in the world. So we need, in order to access them and really build the company that we have the ambitions to build, we have to build the footprint around the world. The three divisions, to give you a feel for the scale, the potential scale of the business. But animal health is a huge business and growing all the time. 22 billion currently, and there's that's only the recognised treatments. Behind that, there's a lot of kind of local, improvised treatments that go along. People using basic chemicals to try and deal with problems, things like using chlorine to clean things and that kind of thing, which doesn't get accounted for in that number. So it's a huge market, rich with opportunity. And again, sustainability. People think, is that a bit of a niche? No, it's not. It's a huge fundamental market. Just the consulting and the advisory side of it alone is something like 13 or 14 billion. So it's a massive market opportunity there. And then publishing, well, again, everybody knows, big market, 20, 30 billion market there to go after. So these are big markets, and as I said before, they all have strong growth drivers. And the other thing that we want to bring out is who are our customers and what kind of people do we work with in this business. And you can see over on the right here, here's a subset of customers who we work with. Many of them are household names, companies, and companies like Bayer or Marks and Spencer or McDonald's, Coca-Cola. These are all customers for us in our different divisions. And the important thing that we want to show with this is that we actually access the food supply chain at almost every level. So we begin with people who supply producers and farmers, people like drug companies, feed producers, technology providers. We actually serve the companies themselves, companies like Marine Harvest in the aquaculture sector, big dairy companies, Aviogen, the world's largest animal breeder. And we also serve the processing companies, companies like Coca-Cola and Unilever. There we're providing things like specialist supply chain management advice or sustainability consultancy. And right through to the retailers, the people who interface with the end consumer. And again, our customers tend to be the big multiple outlet players, people like McDonald's, Tesco, Marks and Spencer, Kentucky Fried Chicken, those kind of really big international companies as well. So we have this unusual insight that stretches right across the food chain. If you look at what our strategies were, these were articulated at the IPO. So we want to become a world leader. We're a very ambitious team. We always have been. And that's one of the major energies that comes from the company, that we managed to build a group of people around us who have shared goals and have the drive and ambition to see them through. And that means that we want to be a lead player in our 4 key areas. Sorry. So, what we're doing is that we have strategies that underpin that drive. The first is that we want to work in high quality science. The days of kind of muck and magic progress are behind us. and the need to apply proper science to everything, almost every aspect of production, is now absolutely paramount. And we need to work with the best teams, best research workers, the best scientific knowledge available. Along with that research and development capability, you have to back that with business development. You have high caliber people delivering exciting and innovative new ideas to take to market. You need the same caliber of people taking them to market for you. And so those first two mean that you have to be able to attract the very best people. It's a key strategy for us. We will not recruit until we've got the right people. And when you're in a company like ours that's growing very fast, that's quite a challenge at times. And we have a principle that says that all senior management appointments have to be overseen by a member of the board before they're finally recruited. And it's really important. Get the wrong people, just a few of the wrong people can do an awful lot of damage. And the last strategy that we've identified is to continue to grow the company both through organic growth but also through highly targeted M&A. And we've put together a mechanism to help us deliver that. Progress since the IPO then. So we set up a specialist M&A team. What we did was we brought in some experts who work in that arena, a company called Equity Strategy. Some of you probably know some of the team. Leon's here tonight, and Nigel. And what they do is they bring a level of expertise to that we wouldn't easily bring in-house. And also they take the weight off the executives' shoulders, allowing us to concentrate our efforts on driving the business until an M&A opportunity is put together that really looks right for us, and that we can see is going to be one that we want to go after, and then at that point we divert our attention into bringing it home. So it was a way for us of filtering out and getting the best opportunities onto the table without consuming vast amounts of management time on it. So we have increased activity in M&A. We have an expanded list. We believe we're making really good progress there. At the same time, of course, we have actually announced a couple of those. We acquired earlier this year, we acquired the aquaculture vaccine development capability of Zoetis, the animal health division of Pfizer. That's a really important acquisition for us. We also have expanded our publishing business with the acquisition of a small but technically very strong technical book publishing company in our sector. And so the output from that is starting to come through, and we believe will continue to do so now going forward. We've also accelerated our R&D program very strongly. We've completed the initial expansion of the R&D teams. That was one of the things that we felt was important. And we've also expanded our development with third parties. That means both funding research in institutions, university departments around the world, and also acquiring technology. In our sector, new technology platforms are often the absolute key to driving success. So in vaccines, for example, new vaccine technology platforms are very, very important. And we have this year managed to acquire two very interesting pieces of technology. One of them came with two prototype vaccines that we were quite excited about. So we've been out, and we brought these in-house, and we're starting to apply them to our own development programs, and already we're seeing that they're adding considerable power to the program that we have already. We've also completed the initial phase of expanding the product development teams as well. So we're bringing in those business development people alongside the product development teams, and people who understand how to take products to market. We also said at the IPO that we were going to expand the vaccine manufacturing capacity. We're now very much into that. We are busy with building new antigen manufacturing facilities in our Braintree factory. The plans for the building of the Biocampus factory in Edinburgh are well advanced. We expect to start building there fairly soon. And we've also expanded our laboratory base with new labs in Thailand to access the Asian market, a new lab in Oslo to access the very large Norwegian salmon business there. So that program is reaching an advanced stage. And you can see the people have grown considerably. This is always one that's, it can be a little bit uncomfortable to say, oh, we've grown our people dramatically, and that's a great achievement. But we needed to do that because the company is growing very fast, and we're looking to access some very big and challenging areas of business, and we needed the support structure there to do that. And so we've been very busy getting that done. Just to talk quickly about some of the highlights from the divisions. I want to pick out here that the first one is the acquisition of the launch of a product called MediaVac. This is a sheep vaccine for chlamydia. Chlamydia is quite an interesting disease. It causes a lot of damage, makes ewes go infertile in the sheep industry, but it also infects lady shepherds, can cause abortions in people. So it's a serious problem, and there aren't, up until now, there aren't very many totally safe and effective vaccines. So some of the vaccines themselves can actually cause a low level of abortions in sheep, and indeed it's thought in people as well, in the lady shepherds who work closely with the sheep. So this product, MediaVac, is totally safe. It's also a totally effective vaccine. We literally launched it today. The first batch of vaccine went out today, and so this is one that has come in a bit faster than we were projecting at the IPO. We could see the opportunity was there to get into the market this year, and so we put a big effort behind completing the program and bringing that to market early. The second one, which is a really big deal for us, is the JV with a Swiss company called Hyperpet. This is in an area which at first sight might not have immediately appeared to everybody as the obvious area for Benchmark to be working in. Cat allergies in humans is a very big issue. It affects about 10% of people in the world. And our involvement in it comes from our expertise in animal vaccine manufacture. Because this solution, unlike most solutions to human allergy problems or disease problems in general, which is to treat the patient, here we're treating the causative factor at source. And cats release a protein onto their fur, they lick it onto their fur or sweat it onto their fur, called FeLD1, and this, no one knows really exactly what it's there for. It's thought to be there for some signalling purposes, maybe mating behaviour or something like that, but it certainly is the cause of allergies, cat allergy in humans. It's a serious problem, and it's a big commercial opportunity. Currently we spend $2 billion on drug treatments alone for this, and so it's a very big market. We identified a minimum market size of 250 million for the product. Now, the solution to the problem involves putting together first two interesting and well-researched pieces of the equation. The first is the protein itself, understanding how it works and understanding how it sits within the animal's metabolic system. And the second is designing a vaccine using the very latest vaccine technologies to tackle that, which is called virus-like particle vaccine technology. So putting those two together has been done by Hyperpet, and we come in to take what is a laboratory prototype vaccine and turn that into a full-scale licensed product and complete the licensing trials in order needed to do that. I've talked about the development of Braintree and the new laboratories. In sustainability science, we've been expanding our research capability in various aquaculture species. That's an area that is really important to us. And since acquiring a new research farm on the west coast of Scotland, we've been investing in that. We've also been investing in vaccine trials facilities on our terrestrial research farm in Oxford. You can see that up on the right there. And again, this is an interesting area and a business opportunity, not only to complete the production process of our own vaccines, but also to perform that as a service for others. So it's quite a nice business opportunity. And of course, I guess most, or some of you will have seen us in the press. Because of our work in sustainable development, we had the presidential visit of the President of Ireland, that, you know, he came to Oxford to see the work that we're doing on the farm there, because the Irish government is trying to drive those kind of programs very strongly into their own production arena. And we had a very good visit with them, and that was very good from the PR point of view as well. In technical publishing, again, we're seeing strong growth. We managed to launch our first Russian publication just as the Russians took Crimea over, so it was time to perfection. But it's a huge market. The thirst for knowledge in Russia, particularly in agricultural production, is very strong. And in fact, the new Russian publication, agritimes.ru, is our fastest growing publication at the moment, and very profitable. We also launched the petsite.com. That was in response to demand from the major pharmaceutical companies who wanted to have the same marketing platform for companion animals as they already have for food animals. And we launched around about the time of launching Mediavac, the new sheep vaccine. We launched the sheepsite.com, partly to promote that program, but also in response to demand for knowledge from the global sheep industry. As I mentioned earlier, we bought earlier this year a second additional publishing business. That brought 450 new titles and over 100 new authors to us, so that was very good development for us. And our online learning programs are growing very strongly. Student numbers up like something like 90%. So, coming to the outlook, I guess some of you will have heard about the Longitude Prize being relaunched this year. And they identified a number of priorities, 5 priority areas, 2 of which actually were in our area of activity. The first was ensuring nutritious and sustainable food chain, and the second one was preventing the rise of antibiotic resistance. And in the end, the prize winner was the resistant antibiotics, was the area that was chosen. So this was, you know, kind of an endorsement, I think, of our strategies. And in terms of outlook in general, we are seeing, you know, the growth in aquaculture is still there. It's going to be like that for another decade, probably. Demand for fish products and food and the healthy marine-produced foods is growing stronger all the time. In animal health, we're seeing demand for vaccines just the same. It's continuous growth there. And in sustainable science and technical publishing, again, there's no change. The demand and the growth is there. Our investment in manufacturing capacity and in new products is continuing. The pipeline has grown from 35 products at the IPO now to 45 products in development. And we are seeing, you know, new opportunities coming all the time. The rate of progress with M&A is good. We are pleased with the development that we're making there. And we've opened up some exciting new opportunities, not least of which is a new cat allergy vaccine. So, all in all, the company still remains confident. Our half-year figures were very much in line with the expectations. We're coming up to year-end. Our year-end's the 30th of September, and we have no reason to change our view on that. We are progressing well and in line with our expectations. And so we still hold the same view as before, that we see a strong and growing opportunity for us.